Today, the Matt Walsh Show, Disney goes into full-on panic mode after embarrassing photos leak revealing its wokest remake yet. What they're doing to Snow White is truly a travesty. Also, a Biden administration official says that we can never know who left cocaine in the White House, even though, of course, we all know. Mike Pence and Tucker Carlson get into a heated debate about the war in Ukraine. The whole debate centers around a question that the Mike Pences of the world have never really answered, namely, why should anyone in America care about Ukraine in the first place? In our daily cancellation, a Republican congressman is condemned by Democrats and Republicans alike for using the term colored people. But why is that term offensive exactly? We'll talk about all that and more today on The Matt Walsh Show. Welcome back to The Matt Walsh Show. I've been away for 3 weeks, approximately 450 years in podcast time, working on some major projects. Now, some who follow me on Twitter noticed over the past many days that I have posted a number of pictures of me out fishing with my kids. And this has led to some scandalous rumors that I promised major projects and then just went fishing instead. Now, it is true that I have done some fishing, but it's also true that I've been working on other projects not related to fishing. We're still not at the point where we can announce anything about those projects, but I promise you that you will not be disappointed when that time comes. I can also promise that I will not have any more extended absences in the foreseeable future. I'm back. I'm not going anywhere, whether you like it or not. Also, for the record, I did catch some really nice fish, but that's neither here nor there. Now, on to the first topic we'll tackle in my return. It's not necessarily the most important topic, but it is perhaps the most hilarious, and so it wins pride of place. On Friday, the Daily Mail obtained and published what it said were exclusive photos from the set of Disney's new woke Snow White live-action remake. As we know, Disney is in the process of slowly cannibalizing itself, eating away at its own legacy until soon, mercifully, there will be nothing left. They are recreating all of their own classic films, releasing new lifeless remake versions that are similar to the old versions, except shorn of all the charm and creativity and humor and beauty and, all that stuff you don't need. They asked themselves, hey, what would our best films be like if they didn't have any of the qualities that made them special? They decided to find out the answer to that question. And the answer is that, well, all the films suck, apparently. And as a result, they've mostly been flops. Each remake has earned increasingly diminishing returns. And so Disney responds by frantically blaming every new failure on racism and bigotry. This is their marketing strategy. Put out a crappy movie and then claim that anyone who doesn't buy a ticket is a Nazi. It was a relatively successful tactic 10 years ago, but there are diminishing returns for that also, because after all, most of us have now been branded Nazis 99 times over. The 100th time doesn't have much impact. It's all kind of sunk cost at this point. And if these set photos are any indication, there will be a whole lot of Nazis refusing to see this movie as well. The Daily Mail reported, quote, hi-ho, it's off to the job center they go, for the seven dwarves have been replaced by magical creatures for Disney's live-action remake of Snow White. The character of the fictional princess, who will be played by Rachel Zegler in the film, has been pictured for the first time with her new companions, who appear to be a mix of genders, ethnicities, and heights. The actress, wearing Snow White's famous yellow and blue dress and a red cape, is trailed by the group, who are dressed in brightly colored clothes and carrying work tools. They were spotted shooting scenes in Bedfordshire on Thursday, and pictures obtained exclusively by Mail Online. Disney announced that magical creatures would replace these seven dwarves to avoid reinforcing stereotypes after Game of Thrones actor Peter Dinklage criticized the effing backwards story last year. As we can see in the pictures, not only is Snow White not white, but the dwarves are not dwarves anymore. Behind the Hispanic Snow White, we see what appears to be a group of patrons just leaving the local Renaissance fair. They certainly don't look anything like people who get up in the morning and go work in the mines, or work anywhere else for that matter. The seven dwarves have become seven unemployed gypsies. And there appears to be only one dwarf in the bunch, because apparently the most politically correct thing is to take jobs away from dwarf actors and give them to regular-sized people. Now, I would have thought, if anything, it would go the other way, right? In the PC Snow White, everyone should be a dwarf, including Snow White herself. In fact, that's a movie I would actually watch. But these rules aren't for me to make or understand. The Daily Mail has a little more information about this flaming garbage heap of a film. It says, quote, co-written by Barbie's Greta Gerwig, the upcoming adaptation will not feature a Prince Charming and will instead focus on a stronger Snow White who dreams of becoming a leader. Ms. Zegler previously addressed reports that the film was trying to be politically correct, claiming that the story needed refreshing. She said, people are making these jokes about ours being the PC Snow White, Yeah, it is, because it needed that. Our version is a refreshing story about a young woman who has a function beyond someday my prince will come. Yes, how refreshing. How unexpected. I mean, can you believe it? In this version, the lead character is a strong, kick-ass female who don't need no man. What a surprising twist. I mean, we haven't seen a movie like this since literally every other movie that's been released in the last 15 years. A truly inspired choice by Disney. Only Disney, I mean really, only Disney would have the artistic courage to do the thing that everyone else does and everyone expects them to do. It's clear that the left is giving up their morals and any common sense. There's no better time to build a daily habit of prayer and meditation. Building a habit of prayer can help you cultivate an attitude of gratitude. Focusing on what you are thankful for can increase positive emotions and improve overall well-being. Hallow is the #1 Christian prayer app in the U.S. Helps me maintain a daily prayer routine. It can do the same for you. All you got to do is download the app for free at hallow.com/Matt Walsh. You can set prayer reminders, track your progress along the way. If you're not sure where to start, well, how about checking out Father Mike Schmitz's Bible in a Year podcast, available on the Hallow app for brief daily reflections. Or you can pray alongside Mark Wahlberg, Jim Caviezel, even some world-class athletes. With Hallow, you can customize a personal prayer plan that works for you. Listen wherever you are with downloadable offline sessions. Using Hallow to connect with others who share your beliefs and values can bring a sense of belonging, support, and also foster a sense of community, which is so important. Ultimately, we'll learn how we can become better individuals in spite of today's broken world as we strive to become more like Christ in our daily lives through prayer, fasting, and giving. Download Hallow at hallow.com/Matt Walsh and get an exclusive 3 months free. That's 3 months free at hallow.com/Matt Walsh. Needless to say, in reality, the true refreshing spin would be a story where the lead actress isn't a flawless superhuman goddess, but is actually a human being with flaws and weaknesses and vulnerabilities. That would not only make her relatable, but would help create something that no major studio film has had in at least 2 decades, namely tension and suspense. You know, just like the most basic storytelling ingredients that you need in every story, including fairy tales. But of course, these stories don't have those storytelling ingredients because the stories are not stories. They are many other things: cash grabs, leftist sermons, acts of repentance for past sins, reparations, virtue signals, ESG score boosters, many things. But they're not stories. They're not films. They're not art. Now, when the internet got a hold of these pictures of Snow Latino and the 7 slovenly hippies, the mockery came fast and hard and hilariously. In fact, the mockery was so overwhelming that Disney panicked and issued a statement to the Daily Beast claiming the photos are fake. And this prompted a round of smug fact-checking articles from outlets like the AV Club, which ran cover for Disney with this headline, quote, "Disney says obviously fake Snow White photos are fake." The article continues, "People who love to be mad and loud on the internet really do just jump at any possible opportunity to get really mad and really loud, even opportunities that are very clearly produced with that exact purpose in mind. Case in point, if you saw Rachel Zegler trending on Twitter today, you might have been surprised to pull up an exclusive set photo of the actress from Disney's upcoming Snow White remake. Zegler's casting already sparked a limited but loud backlash from a handful of people opposed to the casting of a Latina Snow White. But the mixed race and gender group of dwarves also sparked fresh backlash from Twitter users like Libs of TikTok and right-wing commentator Matt Walsh, who threw little temper tantrums. Earlier this afternoon, a Disney spokesperson told the Daily Beast, quote, "The photos are fake and not from our production. We are currently trying to have the Daily Mail issue a correction." Yes, well, there's one problem about these fake photos. The obviously fake photos are actually real. A few hours after issuing the statement, Disney backtracked and admitted that they lied. The photos are from the production. They are not fake. They just aren't official, meaning that Disney didn't officially release them, which is obviously not the same thing as being fake. I mean, this is like if somebody snaps a picture of me unkempt and gross looking in sandals and sweatpants, buying diapers from Walmart at 11 p.m., and I claim that the pictures are fake because I didn't officially pose for them. Like, that's not how fakeness works. The AV Club published this update on Friday evening. Quote, "After initially telling the Daily Beast the Snow White set photos were fake, a spokesperson now says the photos are in fact from the production, but are not official photos. We regret the error, and in our mind, they still look pretty fake. The following story has been updated to reflect this fact." Now, I don't know what's better here. The fact that the outlet tried to save face by adding that the photos still look pretty fake, whatever that means, or that Disney was so embarrassed by their own work that they tried to lie and claim that the pictures aren't real. No, that's not from our movie. Those are just a bunch of weirdos walking home from a thrift store. The company will spend hundreds of millions of dollars producing and marketing this film, and yet they are ashamed of it. As well they should be. This film, we can already tell, will be a travesty, like every other Disney remake. It's also an example of actual cultural appropriation. Okay, so when you hear this term cultural appropriation, you're wondering, what does that look like? Well, it looks like this. It looks like a Latina Snow White. Snow White is a 19th century German fairy tale. The name Snow White literally refers to the character's skin color. She is supposed to be white as snow. This is a defining feature of the character, as it was described in the original Brothers Grimm fairy tale. Reading now from the original fairy tale, this is what it says. And while she was sewing and looking out the window at the snow, she pricked her finger with the needle, and 3 drops of blood fell upon the snow. And the red looked pretty upon the white snow, and she thought to herself, would that I had a child as white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as the wood of the window frame. Soon after that, she had a little daughter who was as white as snow and as red as blood, and her hair was as black as ebony. And she was therefore called Little Snow White. Now, it's not as though Disney went searching for the new Snow White and they discovered that Rachel Zegler was so compelling, such a talented and powerful actress that they felt they had no choice but to cast her in the role. Like they had to make an exception because she's just so good. That's not what happened. No, they specifically set out to strip this character of her whiteness, to make the character not white. This is appropriation. It is anti-white racism. Yes, it is racist to make Snow White not white because they are treating the whiteness of the character as a flaw that needs to be fixed. The lead actress in the film has even said as much, that they're fixing it. And from there, they destroy everything else that makes the story what it is, everything else that made it resonate through the decades across the world for 200 years. Modern leftists, consumed by their own narcissism, come along and declare that they will improve what human beings have loved for generations. And their way of improving it every time is to simply dismantle it. This is what they've done to all of society. Snow White is just the latest manifestation. And it's not an insignificant manifestation. And I'll tell you why, because you can tell a lot about a culture by the stories that it tells. So what does it say about our culture that we have no story to tell? We have only the negation of old stories. We don't write new fairy tales. We just throw the old ones in the fire. We pretend like we've created something new. But all we have done is defaced what is old and what is good. Thanks for checking out this video. If you'd like to listen to my full podcast on the go, you can check out The Matt Walsh Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.